Hi there, I'm Scott from ByTheBrush Miniatures, and today I'm going to show you how to photograph miniatures. Miniatures obviously come in very many different sizes, so for this video I've just got 3 different miniatures here that we're going to use as examples for these different photographing techniques. First of all, I'm just going to go through everything you're going to need. Get yourself some kind of backdrop. I tend to use a white backdrop. You can use either like an interesting background that suits the mini that you're photographing, or you could use black. It depends on what's actually being photographed, but I just use some plain white paper. The next thing I do is I get myself a laptop. It can just be any laptop, it doesn't have to be particularly good. Open it up, put one sheet of paper there, then another one on top, just like that. And then now you can see you've got yourself a nice little sort of area for the photography that's going to commence. Now you don't need any sort of expensive camera equipment. All that you really need is your mobile phone, because on that you can just take pictures that are absolutely fine to use to show off your miniatures. One thing I do recommend you get though is some form of lighting. Here I'm just using the same ring light that I use to make all my videos. I also use it for actually painting miniatures outside of videos. So you're basically just going to have to make sure that you get some form of good lighting that you can take photographs with. This one's good because it's adjustable, so I can adjust the amount of light that comes out. So if you photographing something that maybe needs a bit more light to accent it, or maybe something that doesn't want as much because maybe it wants some sort of darker ambience, who knows, there's several different reasons you might want different light intensities for your photographs. Now pretty much the next thing to do is learn specific techniques for photographing different sizes of minis. First I'm going to go through a sort of normal size miniature. So what I tend to do is I put it down, and for this I'm actually just going to remove this from the stand, and then to take a photograph of a miniature like this, I just place it like that so that all the background is just white. You can see here we've got this little line. You can either leave that, or you can just try and arrange the paper in such a way that you can try and get rid of it. As you can see, we're starting to do so here. Another thing that you can actually do is just make sure that you are only focusing on the mini, and there are several different settings that your phone might have, including set different things to adjust like the background blur and stuff, and if you just blur it a little bit more, it should get rid of that line. Now what I like to do is I like to make sure that I take pictures of my minis from every angle. So this mini I would probably take quite a few angles, just like that. So probably one for the front, one for the left, one for the right, one for the back. Then what I do is I take some close-ups of several areas that I think need to be emphasized. So if I'm particularly proud of something I do, say if for some reason I was very happy with how I'd painted this guy's gun, I might do a close-up of the gun. Now when you're doing close-ups and things like that, it's really important to make sure that you do adjust the lighting accordingly. So bring the lighting closer. You can even actually pick the mini up by the base and then take some close-ups like that. Very similar situation for sort of medium-sized miniature. Now what I like to make sure I do is once I've taken the photo is crop it, because you might start to see that on the sides of this frame in particular you've got this black strip and this black strip over here. Now to get rid of that, the best thing that I find to do is just to make sure that you crop the sides out. I tend to post mine on Instagram, all my photos, so I like to have that 1:1 configuration anyways, so I think that's probably the way to go with this. Now this mini in particular obviously is Abaddon the Despoiler, so I take the usual few angles, but it might be a little bit more than just the 4, because I might want to capture various sides from different angles, and then obviously there's going to be a lot of different close-ups because there are a lot of nice detailed areas on this mini, and again just adjusting the light accordingly. So very similar to just photographing a smaller. Now complications begin to arise when you've got a particularly large mini, like for this example we have Be'lakor. What I tend to do in this scenario is I take one sort of establishing photograph, and for that I like to make sure that as much of the mini as possible is behind background, so you can see that it is fully surrounded by this white background, so later on we can crop it so that there isn't any sort of annoying black strips or, you know, actual just my working space. The next thing that I like to make sure I do is, rather than just taking another establishing shot from the side, which obviously you can do, it's absolutely fine to do so, and the back and obviously the other side, I actually like to just make sure that I go straight in now for the kill with getting some close-ups, because obviously large models like this, especially this one in particular, will have lots and lots of really nice details that you want to make sure that you get close-ups of. So I tend to just go around the mini looking for some cool close-up angles I can get. It doesn't actually have to be specifically to pick out some details. Say I might take one photograph of the base from this angle or the sword from this angle, but then I might just decide that I want a waist up profile from this angle or something like that. So there's lots of different things that you can do. I think with larger minis like this, it is more about taking some really nice dynamic shots and just making some nice looking photographs, rather than make sure that you're capturing the entire miniature in one single photo, which I do like to do just for the establishing shot. So all that's left to say now is thank you for watching this video. I really hope this has helped you in finding the best way to photograph your miniatures. I really would appreciate some support if you follow the link in the description to our Patreon. You can support us that way, would really appreciate that obviously. You can also follow the link to our Instagram, where you can see a lot of our pictures of both YouTube related hobby stuff and some of our own hobby stuff that we post on there as well. But without further ado, that's the end of this video, and we'll see you later.